Hello there, and as usual, I'm Aaron from Last Stand Gamers, and welcome. This is of course the subscriber submissions for ships, stations, or whatever creation you may have made in Space Engineers, and I have to say, we've had some amazing submissions. Some of them have absolutely blown my mind, and that's why I couldn't just stop with having top 5. I had to extend it and add another category called Innovation. And this is basically going to be awarded to the designs that I just went, wow, that was a pretty neat idea. So first of all, we're going to have a look at the ships. So small ships were a category, but there wasn't too many small ships that really had that wow factor and that purpose that these ships were looking for. So these are of course transport protection ships, or basically used to protect smaller vessels or maybe your transports when you're actually moving through space. And these are designed by Spantes, and I just think they're really well designed, nicely laid out ships, or cruisers you could even call them. I mean, the design is very nice, everything's nice and sleek, weapons overlay really nicely, not too heavily armed, there's not weapons stuck all over, and the interior layout is very well done. The first thing you see is you're greeted by this double access port, so it's a nice big airlock area here, so you'd seal this up behind you when you came in, like so. And then this other door here would open up and you can activate the gravity fields. It'd be really nice to see an airlock feature implemented with some sort of different atmospheres, like fake atmospheres in ships. But this ship was just so well laid out. I mean, each room felt like it had some sort of purpose. I mean, this room here is just a perfect storage area, and then it's done the same throughout the ship. I mean, there's either storage areas, cargo compartments. I mean, everything seems to have a purpose. Like, this room is pretty misleading. You think it's just a standard medical bay, but it actually leads you up to the command bridge, and just look how well planned out he's actually done this. Look, you go up this one level and then you face by a whole level of turrets and well armoured areas like this. Just imagine trying to assault this, even using your jetpacks it would be hard. And then you finally go up this next level where you face by another 4 turrets, and I like how he's kept the gravity generators up near the bridge so he could actually turn them off if attackers do get aboard. And then he's got a nice simple control room, and he's got very simple, like, low level windows as well here. There's only 2 windows on the front, so it just has a really sleek design. He's also decided to do it in heavy armor, a very similar design. It's pretty much the same, but in heavy armor for that added level of protection. So that was one of my favorites. Let's move on, shall we? I didn't just get military vessels as submissions, I also got some cargo fleet sort of vessels and carriers. So these were 2 ships designed by Spank on the Steam Workshop, and I think they are just very nice, simple supply ship sort of designs. So this one here I'm looking at is actually the main supply ship, and we've just got loads of supplies. I mean, and his description talked about how they were made for like a deep space blockade, and the troops and all sorts of things are running out of supplies, and then one of these guys could come in and just simply resupply them all. And the combination of heavy armor and light armor is just beautiful. I mean, it looks like heavy armor's in all the right places to protect the cargo. And I just want to show you the actual detail he's gone into the actual ships he's built for inside as well. He's got a whole variety in the actual transport ship. He's got a lot of cargo little freighters, something what I would call the honey badger. You see these little sort of mini honey badger things, but I believe these look quite nice as well. Just look at the shapes he's put on them and the lights there. There's just a lot better design than my own, I have to say. You've got all these cargo crates, and just the layout is absolutely beautiful. Let's actually have take a look in the crew quarters. So you've got turrets pretty much everywhere, and you've got these nice little medical bays, and I have to say these layouts on the other ship are pretty similar, but the actual cargo bays themselves just really make you feel like you're in this big sort of hulking space sort of freighter. And then as we come towards the back, I believe this is the engine room, and the layout makes it look pretty damn interesting between the beacon and the actual gyroscopes. So let's move over to the other ship that is really built to protect the other one. It said in the description that they shouldn't really go anywhere alone, or else one of them might get picked off without the other. And he also said the majority of the crew would be on this vessel, and you can see why as soon as we go inside. So inside here we have absolutely loads of different variations of fighters, and this is something really interesting. I really like how he's done this. He's put these little crates on here, and I think this is pretty ingenious because these could be used probably to reload the actual weapons on here. So you've just got more ammo for actually when the ammo starts to take consideration. And then moving through the ship, we've got a whole variety of different ones. So we've got smaller ones with little Gatling guns, and this is enough ships in here to protect more than just these 2. It's just very well done indeed. So let's move around to the other cargo bay. So it's pretty much similar. We've got the med bays in there, and then we've got this drop down, and this drop down brings us into what I believe look like troop transports, but I couldn't really be sure. I think there's some sort of cargo resupply ship. But what comes with these is they've got 2 cockpits, so you can either fight for control with the other pilot, or you could probably just have a very nice 2-seating sort of pilot sort of ship. But it looks very nice. So let's move on to the next ship. So this beautiful ship we're actually looking at now is the Mayflower. It's done by Arctic Wolf Limited, and I believe in his advertisement for this ship he described it as basically a ship that was ready, available for commercial sort of use, even though it's pretty well armed for a civilian sort of vessel. But I mean, in deep space, I think you're going to need the armaments. So it's just the layout of this ship that actually got me. It's got this nice curve at the front that brings you into this sort of tighter body, and then at the back it sort of extracts like an arrow sort of fin. It just looks really nice, and it's just a really sort of simple but effective design. And this is what also brought to my attention of this little vehicle here. So if we just take a look at this, this is a really nice sort of strike fighter sort of add-on vehicle. I don't know where he's got the concept for this, but it does look very nice. It's like a ground attack vehicle almost. The cockpit's a little bit exposed, but it's really nicely done, as well as this landing pad that I thought was really creative. So when I've been actually reviewing these ships, I actually took them for a flight, and most of them handled very well, and if they didn't handle well, they didn't tend to make it into these top ships. So there we go, finally got in through the airlock, and we can actually get inside the hull of this ship. So it looks like we've got the engine room first up. We've got some defensive turrets, very nice layout. So let's see where these drop us to. And if we move down here, it looks like we're in the cargo bay. So this must be the door that opens as well for the cargo. Very nice, looks very nice indeed. Let me just check around here. Yeah, so that's the cargo bay door. I'm not 100% how we open that just yet. We'll have to get into a control panel and try it out. So I reckon it just pinches down and you can launch this little fighter out of it. Oh, it's pretty nice little design, nice compact. I like a compact design, a bit exposed in some of the areas, and you've got some red lights there to symbolise that you shouldn't be going down there. But there's no actual control panel from inside here. But we'll go up to the bridge and we'll take a look over there. So we need to actually get up, and I think these are the only way up. So we have to activate our jetpack because the ladders were taken out of the game. And we move back up and we start to patrol on through the ship. So let's bring us through this other airlock. And we are in one of the commuting halls. So we've got some seats here. We've got these sort of little cubicles where maybe different sort of groups could conversate and talk, because I mean, in deep space travel, I mean, there's going to be some tempers seriously going on. We've got some sleeping compartments, very nicely done, I have to say. I preferred them when they were ladders, but that's just me. Then we move up here, we've got another floor of sleeping compartments. It's just so well laid out, and it's really designed for that sort of deep space travel, carrying a lot of people in mind. So we've got this upper deck as well. Very well done indeed. Alright, let's get ourselves into the next area. So we'll open up, go through here. We've got this like sort of nice sub corridor area. We've got a medical bay and storage, and I think there is pretty similar through the next area. So we've got another airlock, nice dividing the ship up, making it harder to be attacked. Even though this is just a commercial ship, it's still vulnerable to pirates and so on. So there we go. I believe this is the emergency control room, so we'll just continue on and try to locate the actual main one. So if we go through here, we're coming up to the front of the ship. We've got this nice sort of entrance, and I believe we need to go up and around. So we've got some more cargo storage sort of containers. So we're actually proceeding up to the actual bridge now, and on the way we have the captain's quarters. Just a very nice laid out room. We've got some seats, we've got the actual bedding area over there, so let's close that up. And then if we continue heading up, we have the bridge that's over there, and we also have a secondary exit on the bridge that basically takes us back outside. But let's actually have a look at the bridge in question. So we open up one of these doors and we're greeted with these nice red immersive lights. I mean, you can really do a lot with lighting that I've noticed on these ships. And here's the actual ship itself. It's just a very nice sort of civilian class ship to be traveling around in. So let's open up the cargo door. So bring that up, and we need to just go past missiles, I believe, and then the door's right underneath. Or hangar door There it is, and let's put the velocity on a positive, like so, and there we have the door coming down very nicely. It's a very simple sort of door design, but that's what I like. I don't like things that are too complicated. So yeah, it just basically comes out flat, I'm guessing, and then that fighter that's in the back, or whatever you want to call it, transport, cargo. I mean, you could possibly have anything in here you wanted, could come whizzing on out, but yeah, a very nice design. Let's move on. Now this brings us on to a number of very cute creations, you could say, and there's a lot of practical applications. So we have got a sort of black and yellow one, sort of resembling the honey badger, but it's very compact, very small in design. And then next up we have a more budget friendly version without the nice exterior, moving on to a combat drone. And finally we sort of have a police one that I think is just really funny, and that's why I had to include it. But there's been many situations where you need a little ship like this to get into a situation, to light something up, to pick it up. And basically, even when I was actually moving the tracks in one of my previous videos, I needed something like this just to pick them up and move them around, and this was the perfect solution. Something that could easily pick it up and then take it to where I want to. It might not have the thrust that I need, but it's got the ability to hold objects in place, like a tank track or something else where you're trying to create a bigger item. And the novelty of some of these little things, just imagine like painting these up in a different paint scheme and then having a load of these little drones like this one working around a bigger one, and they've got these little lights on so that they don't crash into each other. I mean, it'd just be really funny to see it in some sort of industrial sort of setting, but at the same time it would be quite practical. I mean, I've not seen many space car chases, but I mean, if it was done in one of these little drone things, it could be quite interesting. We've got a little bit of spark in there, but you know, it's all part of the job. Right, let's move on. Last but certainly not least, we've got the Armadillo, created by Correlation. So this little ship is really a secret little gem. On the outside it looks very simple and it follows sort of a box design, but there is some rather interesting moving components. And we've also got some information on this ship that says it's for deep space drone recovery. And there's a number of flashing lights you'll see through the deck here, and you'll be rather intrigued when they actually start to operate. So let's go inside. So inside this ship actually reminds me a lot of one of my favourite games, Fallout New Vegas. You come in through here, through this airlock, and basically tell me what this reminds you of. Is there a certain base, maybe the Brotherhood of Steel, the secret underground bunker? And it reminds me really a lot about this place. It seems very similar, and I just like the layout of the sort of floors overlapping and the darkness, but at the same time it's very light. You've got these intermediate sort of floors, you've got different sort of backup and secondary backup control rooms, and now this is the drone recovery deployment area. So you've got this basic lift that lifts the item up, so you disengage the landing gears and then bring in the thrusting of the item upwards. Before we do that, we don't actually have to head down to the engine compartment and check out the bridge of the ship. So basically we will control the area from here, and that is where the winch control is found. And if we move back through here, we drop back down into one of the other command modules. So this is actually the bridge, and it's got these very interesting sort of double shutters, so you can actually shut these blast doors most likely and protect yourself while you're inside. And I like that idea. I like the idea of being able to protect the bridge from incoming fire or maybe intruders. So if we move back around here, we've got these Brotherhood of Steel sort of corridors, and we're going to move to the rotating engine room. So here is the rotating engine room. It's very nicely done. Look at that, the combination of the beacons spinning and that sort of thing. It just looks beautiful, to be honest. It's just very creative. Let's move around here, move around the back of the engine room, and you can see that there's even room for the cargo containers here, and it's basically spinning on a rotor or motor, as you may want to say. So let's actually go and have a go at the lift. So we'll access it from this control cockpit, and there's the lift on top. So the first thing we need to do is disengage the locks. So we have 10 locked in total. We disengage them, now they're in proximity. So what I've been told about this ship is not to do that when you're moving, because you'll have some collision issues. But let's get back up to the actual winch control room. So I believe it's this way. So everything is disengaged now. All we have to do is actually get into this cockpit and lift this drone recovery pod. So I think this is very sort of inventive. It's a very nice idea of doing this simple project. So the landing gears are locked. unlocking them, and we're going to bring this to the surface. So let's actually bring this thing up. So we'll see if we can get a third person sort of perspective if we can. That should do it, and then zoom out. There we go. So that's the actual HUD on top of the ship, if I can get a good angle. And then we'll just lift it out as we go. So yeah, this little HUD extracts from the actual place itself. You can see that. Just look how cool that looks. Just like a movie. Then it comes to about this location. Then what you can actually do here is obviously relock it in place and send out your drone ship to recover what's ever left of that vessel or so on. It's just as simple as getting in here, disengaging that. So let's try finding a way in. There we go. So as I take this ship off, I want you to consider two things. Number one, which one's your favourite ship? And number two, which has the best innovation? So how creative is its interior? How well would it actually work? You might hate the exterior, but you might love the interior. So make sure you comment that below, and I will see you next time.